up a standard like what? When the haters come tryna look, we gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. See, there's always gonna be those people that try to pay off their evil. They try to keep it all legal, they gotta make it look regal. But chickens don't fly, and egos don't fry. So all you gotta do is be you, ignoring the lies. Then eventually the people will see it's all in disguise. Cause your enemy will bury himself in his own demise. Then the Lord will avenge you and flip the plans they devise. The attacks to your character buried to their surprise. In your silence there was power you ain't even recognized. So she focused on that cross, my God, don't compromise. And let that standard in you just begin to arise. The inheritance that God has for you is the prize. Christ moves natural for you and never contrived. Keep yourself healthy in Him and never deprived. King time, build the empire in overdrive. As I thrive in my winnings in the Father, I'm alive. When the enemy coming like flood, we gon' lift up a standard like what? When the haters come tryna look, we gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. Show them that God, no matter what, no matter how many times He tried to crush you, try to take you out, try to bury your character, show Him that God. Yeah. See, there always gonna be debaters that try to relate the Savior to Vegas. Like this the party they making it irritating. There's always a know-it-all that gotta be showing off instead of throwing all this nonsense rolling off. The slippery tongue, the contradictory one. Got Jesus documentaries, never mention the Son. No testamentary to the pre-emptory out for the one that's simply the kingly creator of all that's spun in the universe, even up to the sun. Every proton molecule he was while it begun. He wasn't finished until He said it was done. Can't diminish this legitimate, never to be expunged. That's what it mean to be a mega over greenery and rise from the ashes like the phoenix, living majorly. That was the scenery from who they thought the cabinetry. Extraordinary majesty, that's why we call Him Christ the King. When the enemy coming like flood, we gon' lift up a standard like what? When the haters come tryna look, we gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. See, there's always gonna be those people that try to pay off their evil. They try to keep it all legal, they gotta make it look regal. But chickens don't fly, and egos don't fry. So all you gotta do is be you, ignoring the lies. Then eventually the people will see it's all in disguise. Cause your enemy will bury himself in his own demise. Then the Lord will avenge you and flip the plans they devise. The attacks to your character buried to their surprise. In your silence there was power you ain't even recognized. So she focused on that cross, my God, don't compromise. And let that standard in you just begin to arise. The inheritance that God has for you is the prize. Christ moves natural for you and never contrived. Keep yourself healthy in Him and never deprived. King time, build the empire in overdrive. As I thrive in my winnings in the Father, I'm alive. When the enemy coming like flood, we gon' lift up a standard like what? When the haters come tryna look, we gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. Show them that God, no matter what, no matter how many times He tried to crush you, try to take you out, try to bury your character, show Him that God. Yeah. See, there always gonna be debaters that try to relate the Savior to figures like this the party they making it irritating. There's always a know-it-all that gotta be showing off instead of throwing all this nonsense rolling off. A slippery tongue, the contradictory one. Got Jesus documentaries, never mention the Son. No testamentary to the pre-emptory out for the one that's simply the kingly creator of all that's spun in the universe, even up to the sun. Every proton molecule he was while it begun. He wasn't finished until he said it was done. Can't diminish this legitimate, never to be expunged. That's what it mean to be a mega over greenery and rise from the ashes like the phoenix living majorly. That was the scenery from who they thought the cabinetry. Extraordinary majesty, that's why we call him Christ the King. When the enemy coming like a flood, we gon' lift up a standard like what? When the haters come tryna look, we gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. See, there's always gonna be those people that try to play off their evil. They try to keep it all legal, they gotta make it look regal. But chickens don't fly, and egos don't fry. So all you gotta do is be you ignoring the lies. Then eventually the people will see it's all a disguise. Cause your enemy will bury himself in his own demise. Then the Lord will avenge you and flip the plans they devise. The attacks to your character buried to their surprise. In your silence there was power you ain't even recognized. So she focused on that cross, my God, don't compromise. And let that standard in you just begin to arise. The inheritance that God has for you is the prize. Christ moves natural for you and never contrived. Keep yourself healthy in him and never deprived. King time, build the empire in overdrive. As I thrive in my winnings in the Father I'm alive. When the enemy coming like a flood, we gon' lift up a standard like what? When the haters come tryna look, we gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. We gon' show them that God don't matter what. Show them that God, no matter what, no matter how many times he tried to crush you, try to take you out, try to bury your character, show him that God. Yeah. See, there always gonna be debaters that try to relate the Savior to figures like this the party they making it irritating. There's always a know-it-all that gotta be showing off instead of throwing all this nonsense rolling off. A slippery tongue, the contradictory one. Got Jesus documentaries, never mention the Son. No testamentary to the pre-emptory out for the one that's simply the kingly creator of all that's spun in the universe, even up to the sun. Every proton molecule he was while it begun. He wasn't finished until he said it was done. Can't diminish this legitimate, never to be expunged. That's what it mean to be a mega over greenery and rise from the ashes like the phoenix living majorly. That was the scenery from who they thought the cabinetry. Extraordinary majesty, that's why we call him Christ the King. When the enemy coming like a flood, we gon' lift up a standard like what? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Elevation Podcast. My name is Shawn Riff-Raff, and I am very excited. While I adjust the sound here, I am very excited about what we're doing today. We're going to be talking a whole lot of forgiveness today, and this is Women's Empowerment Month, so we got a really powerful woman here that's going to be a part of the Elevation Podcast today. I'm glad that you guys are hanging with me. I am glad that you guys are, just being a part of this. I think this is going to be amazing.
one of the things about forgiveness, I think, is when you begin to understand who you are, understand how forgiveness helps you, helps you, helps you. I think so many times we get caught up in the idea that forgiveness is for the other person, that we're doing them a favor by forgiving them. And this really has nothing to do with them. It has everything in the world to do with you. And I'm ready. I'm ready for this. This is the Elevation Podcast. My name is Shawn Riff-Raff. Let's go. Welcome to the Elevation Podcast. My name is Shawn Riff-Raff, and I am sitting here. With a special guest right here in the studio. This is Kyonna F. Brown. How you doing?
I'm good. I can see myself. I gotta make sure I'm postured right, guys. I'm good.
How have you been? So we have done. I first got to meet you at your studio. She's the host of Forgiveness Fridays. And I first got to meet you at your studio when you hosted a good friend of mine, Shanae. I really like the message of what you do. Is it was appropriate for me at the time in my life, coming out of a time in my life, and I thought that was just a very important thing. What exactly got you onto the entire forgiveness thing in the first place?
Well, it was just looking at where my life was, where I ended up. Let's just say that. And I'm open, honest, and transparent with everything that's happened. Some people say I tell too much, but, some of those things help people.
Okay.
And how forgiveness actually started to activate in my life was in a prison cell. And so in that prison cell, I was thinking about, how did I get here? And how I got there is because I continuously blamed someone in my life for every action that I took up until that point in my life. And I had to realize that, that person might have done some things to me or might have not been everything that I wanted them to be. But however, all of those reactions I took based upon their action was all my choice.
Right.
And so I had to literally forgive myself first. Looking at, okay, well, Kyonna, you decided to smoke marijuana. You decided to pop pills. You decided, to do all of these extra things.
Absolutely.
And, get into a relationship where ultimately landed you in prison.
Wow.
Those were my choices.
Tell me about, I got to get context for that. Tell me about where you come from.
Where I come from.
Tell me about. I got to build to this context.
DC,
I got to build to this context. I wasn't ready for the prison thing yet.
Okay. So but that's where it all started.
That's a real conversation.
So I grew up in Northeast Washington D.C.
Okay.
Trinidad. Some of those DMV people out here would know what that is.
Yeah, one of my best friends is a DC cop that's Trinidad.
Okay.
And he tells me stories that I don't want to repeat.
Okay, but there you go. You have it. So that's the neighborhood I came from. But however, the environment I lived in was not the same as the neighborhood. You would look at the neighborhood and then look at my house as you walked into the door. It was a total different environment.
Wow.
It was a faith-based home. Every morning, 5:30, we had to get up. Eat breakfast with granddad before he went to work, and it was prayer time.
Wow.
It was read the scripture and get all that done, and then I had to go to school. But that's where I pretty much grew up, every Saturday, Sunday in church. And it was when I got of age where it was like, no more of this. There's so many of us that have been raised in the church.
Yes.
And that's something that we do.
Guy.
We want to go sow our royal oats. We want to see what everything is like outside of, because we know what it's like this side. And we tend to think that it's boring, right? But, I can say that I did have some fun when I was out there doing the things that I did. But, however, today in this season, I find what I'm doing a lot more fun.
from outside looking at everybody, everything looks fun. Fun is so overrated. I was the same way. When I kind of broke away from being this, like, this is boring, and you kind of find out the fun is a bit overrated. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. But so I grew up in that household, but then I was in the neighborhood going to schools, went to elementary school at Wheatley, then I went to Brown Junior High School, and I didn't get to finish there because I got accepted to go to a program at Calvin Coolidge Senior High School. So I went straight from like my second year in junior high school and went to high school in the 9th grade. Where I was literally supposed to still be in junior high school. So now I'm in this school with all of these different, these older kids, and I was in the marching band, and I got introduced to people from different neighborhoods, and it was just like a whole nother world to me. And it was like a sense of freedom, so to speak. I wasn't close. There wasn't anybody that I knew that grew up with me. So here it was, I was in a place where I could create a new identity. Now that had been my theme over years and years and years to come. Each environment that I've gone into, I was able to recreate myself. And then recreating myself, I never really knew the real me. And so that's a part of how I developed my unforgiveness. Because in this environment, hey, this Kyonna over here. In that environment, I'm somebody else. Even, I went to a Maryland school. I didn't graduate from Coolidge. I moved with my mom. Because when I grew up with my grandparents. And so I moved with my mom. I was so excited, wanted to do it. Oh, but I hated it. I hated it so much. Like, there were so many different more rules with my mom, and just getting into a new school and having to be in that new environment. But guess what I got to do? I got to recreate myself again. But, it was fun. But then it wasn't fun because it was like, I'm in 11th grade now. Everybody got their cliques. They got their friends. So here I am trying to fit in. And at that particular point in my life, well, pretty much majority of my life, I had been overweight. And so dealing with that as well, here's the chunky new girl, trying to fit in with everybody. And, I had already developed this stigma about myself since sixth grade it was. There was a guy we were in the closet. And I was putting up my book bag or something, the coat room, and he said to me, you'd be pretty if you weren't so fat. And, literally I took that, as now the world sees what I see when I look in the mirror. For up to a certain point, I could, go with, no, this is just how I feel about myself. But now someone on the outside is telling me that they see me the same way that I see myself.
You see yourself.
So all of that time, that stigma was attached to me.
Wow.
And now I'm here in this new school, not only just a new kid, but now, all of those other feelings and emotions, they're there.
Right.
And so just having to deal with that. And my friend, I'm going to shout her out, Leisha, in 12th grade, we were together, and I had a work study job, so I didn't have to go to school as much. I had a car.
Right.
And I really wasn't going to school.
Right.
So I have no idea how I graduated, but with the exception of my mom, I was talking to her the other day, and she said,
most 12th graders don't know how to get out of 12th grade.
She said, there was a newspaper article at the graduation that you had, and they interviewed me, and she said the same thing, that she had to push me through. So, I know how I got through, but, thinking about it, I really don't remember. And that's when, like, the really heavy partying, became a part of my life because of the way that I felt and viewed myself. Right. I was starting to attach different stigmas. I wanted to do whatever it took to be liked,
right.
To fit into the cliques, to be in those environments and be accepted. And, as time was going on, you would think that I was growing, that I was expounding, that I was becoming.
Right.
But in those seasons, I wasn't.
Right.
I was reverting. I was going, as I would call it, the trap. It's a toxic mindset, rejection, anger, and pain. And as time grew, on and on and on and on, I was getting further and further and further in that trap to where it was, literally about to bury me. And so I went to college. Now, here it is. I'm at Tuskegee University. How do you get in Tuskegee University? But I'm there, right? And so...
She got in.
I got in.
All right.
But, there was a season of my life where I got to recreate myself again, but I recreated myself to be the person again that fit in. But now I was with a clique of people who really indulged in medicinal uses and things like that. So they were really getting in and doing all of those things, those extra things. And there was a point where I didn't want to be here anymore. And there is a section of the campus called the Valley. The Valley actually separates the boys' dorms from the women's dorms. And I remember one night taking literally about half a bottle of Percocet, drinking, smoking marijuana. And I went to that place. I went to the Valley. And, you know, years past, I thought about that Valley experience and what is a Valley. I looked it up. The Valley is, the definition is a place in between low and high. And so I was literally there. I was low and I was high out my mind. You know, I didn't want to be there anymore, you know, and I was angry with God, right? I woke up the next morning. I have no idea how I got back to my dorm room. I just know that I was there. And I was trying to figure out, if you know, say that you love me, why would you not allow for me to be taken away from this agony that you call my life, you know? But eventually I got myself together, meaning went back home because, you know, for a whole year I went there and I did some studying, you know, but most of the time I majored in partying 101. I passed that really, really well. You know, if they gave out grades for that, I probably would have, you know, just met my 4 years right there. But I went home and I started, you know, doing jobs like McDonald's and things like that. And my mom said to me one day, she said, "You love animals. That's what you were going to school for. Why don't you go get a job working at a pet store or, you know, a veterinarian or something like that?" And I did that. And I was excited. I called her. I said, "Mom, I got the job." She was like, "Okay, so what? I knew you was going to get a job." And I'm like, "All right, whatever." But that was where I learned how to groom. And everybody who knows, and I have to give a shameless plug for Pooch Dallas Pet Grooming. I've had that business now for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And so that's truly a blessing in itself. But, you know, that's where that passion started at there. But it kind of ended abruptly because that's where I was in the relationship and I was the ride or die chick. And we committed a crime where I was just supposed to be the getaway driver, but they charged me with the crime. It was an armed robbery charge.
Wow, that's what they do to getaway drivers.
Yeah. And so that's when I got to that space.
You's part of the problem. You go too.
Well, I was trying to be the solution to get the problem away.
Yeah, you was part of the problem according to them people. Wow, man, what's that experience like? So,
you know what?
I've done 3 hard days.
3 hard days.
I've done 3 hard days in the Bing Bing.
So it was truly a surreal experience. You know, I can remember my first night. When I say my first night, I don't mean my first night in the jail, but just like when they actually handcuffed me. It was a day where I had just got another job. I was going to work with animal control in Prince George's County. Where I was like, "Mom, I got a job." And she was like, my grandmother said, "Yeah, but the police been here looking for you."
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. So they wanted to meet up with me. We met up over here on Minnesota Avenue across the street from the subway station. And they said, "Oh, wow, you look different, Miss Fields." That's my maiden name. "You look different." And I was like, "Oh," because I kind of knew that they were looking for me. So my hair was every color under the sun. I was just trying to change it up. And I was like, "Oh, no, I just like to change my hair color." So they took me out of the car and said, "We just want to talk to you over here." So I got out the car and they said, "Well, we just want to let you know that we have a warrant for your arrest." My heart sank. And the first thing that I could think about was, how am I going to tell my mother this?
Wow.
How am I going to tell my mother this? I remember getting in the car, the police car, with handcuffs on, going across the bridge, and just looking at my,
The memories have it right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay.
I talk about it, but I don't talk about this part all the time. So as I'm, just looking at my environment, my community, and it's like, wow, I didn't know this, but that was the last time that I saw it for 4 years, and so I'm there and I had to make that call to my mom. My friend had my car and I'm in this holding cell before they actually take me to the court to do all of that stuff or whatever.
Yep.
And while I'm in there, I'm just sleeping on this metal bed and I'm trying to make myself comfortable. But there's like all of this noise. You know, all of these people are talking, these women. You have prostitutes, you got drug addicts, you know, all different types of people. And I'm like, what in the world am I going to do?
Right.
And in my mind, it's like, this isn't going to last. This is my first time. I'm going home. Wait a minute. Grandma said, pray, right? I'm going to pray. And then, but that's honestly where I was. I had that childlike faith. You know, I didn't really understand what real faith was. Faith is in the words that God says towards you, not the things of your hopes.
Right.
And so I am like, okay, get the cord. They said, you are a threat to society.
Wow.
And they locked me up, and it was the new beginning of a different experience in life.
Right.
I wasn't trying to recreate myself again. I was trying to get to know me. So
it's an interesting thing that you had to go through that experience to understand you can't recreate what you did not create.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, that just hit me. Keep going.
It's fine. You are totally fine. But it took that for me to actually sit uninterrupted. And the thing, you know, I know it was him. Like, okay, look. You doing too much. I've already got so many plans for you.
Right.
And you messing it up.
Wow.
So let me let you think about what you're doing.
Sit down for a second.
And not even a second. I'm like, I'm looking at people come in and go out and then come back again and go out. And I'm like, well, Lord, why I got to think this long about it? You know, but it was a total learning experience.
Right.
I got to tap back into my passion of writing. Because when I was in 9th grade at Calvin Coolidge, I was in a creative writing club. And that's why I learned how to write. And that kind of subsided, you know, once I started doing all the extracurricular activities that I should have not been doing when I was in high school, working towards college.
Right.
So I did that, and I wrote 2 plays that the inmates actually put into production. You know, and so that is coming full circle right now with the ventures that, you know, we were talking about, because we had a great pre-interview show. I don't even think that was I don't know what that was, but it was just conversation.
That was the warm up.
So y'all missed a lot of stuff. But, you know,
I get the information everybody else doesn't get.
Everything is coming full circle,
Right.
You know, just to see why I literally had to sit that long, so that I could see what he's actually deposited inside of me. But the thing about it is, even though I saw things there, when I came home, Shawn, I still messed up again. I didn't go back, but, you know, I messed up again and I messed up again. And then starting, you know, to get into the same relationships that I was in that led me to prison, until one day I was, we were living in a house, and we had left because I told that person that I was no longer going to be with you. And I just packed up myself. I said, y'all, this is towards my friends. We about to have a packing party. Y'all about to help me move because I'm leaving this house. So I left my house. I left the person, everything. But there was a broken part of me that was still yearning to be with that person. And so in that, I found myself, because I still had the keys to the house, in the basement one night. After reaching out to this person several times, they wouldn't answer my phone. They wouldn't do anything. And so me and my dog, Kendall, even though she don't be on social media, my Lhasa Apso, that's my ride or die. You know, she and I were in that house, and I woke up the next morning in a home that was abandoned. Literally, nobody lived there. I wasn't even supposed to be there. And I went to look in the mirror, and I could not recognize the person I was looking at. I could not recognize me, and I remembered that someone had invited me to their church. And that was the day that my eyes were really open. You know, I thought, you know, the prison experience, my eyes were open. I got to see some of the things that I was killing inside of me. But that moment, I got to see everything I was killing, like physically killing me, to where I was no longer even resembling the Kyonna that I knew. And so, you know, that was the game changer for me. And, you know, there's nothing that I've done that's perfect.
Right.
And the reason I share the message of forgiveness, because of all of that, I've had to continuously forgive myself over and over and over again. Even when I regressed, when I was supposed to be progressing, I still had to look at myself and ask God for repentance and say, look, God, I know this is hard for me. This is a stronghold for me. I need you more than ever. I need your grace to make it through this. And so, that's what he's done. And that's why I love to share the message, because I get excited now. When something happens, it's like, oh God, I got to forgive in this. It's going to hurt a little bit. It might even upset me some. It might change, different relationships with people.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting to see what you going to give me on the end. Because when I do the faithful thing of forgiving, I know that you're going to have a reward for me.
Ultimately, it's healthy.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm recognizing this because my next question was, what was the scenario that got you into forgiveness? But I think that the answer to that it was your ultimate was forgiveness to yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Forgiveness. I
realized that I was the common thread in everything. I was the common thread. Different people.
Yeah, we like to blame everybody else, but then we don't accept the accountability that we're in the position that we're in because we got us in the position that we got us in, and I always just I picked the wrong friends. It's my friend's fault. It's like no.
You did that.
No, you got some toxic that attracts you to the wrong friends.
Yes.
That's so awesome. So tell me about what you're doing these days. Like, I know you do a whole lot.
Okay,
I know you.
We met
right
through Forgiveness Friday.
Absolutely.
And I'm in a space right now where I am enjoying necessary endings so that they can bring beautiful new beginnings.
Okay.
And just a word to y'all out there who are holding on to some things that you need to let go, has been over seasons ago. There's something new that can begin once you let that go.
Absolutely.
And so that has been my journey with the show. It was my baby.
I could so tell you stories.
So 2016, 2017, I'm sorry, was when I got the vision, or God gave me the vision to actually do that show. And so, I've been going strong from where I was in my closet and my first studio, then the second studio I'm at now. And, he's just expounded me. I've been taking some courses in production, and we're moving Forgiveness Friday into a movie platform, short films.
Oh, sweet.
And so, with that, we're going to do it where we're able to tell stories. So, hey, if you got a story where you feel like the world needs to know, because when you look at forgiveness, a lot of people think of different scenarios or just, I hurt you, with friendship or things like that. But there's so many different elements to forgiveness that, we need to look at, not just, what's the norm in forgiving. Different situations in family. I mean, like some real strange situations in family. But, that's one of the ways that I want to share. But I'm also being able to tap into the community to use those who have the skill or the desire to actually want to act, to be a part of this project, to actually share the message. So being a part of the ministry, they'll really be able to help and create impact in the community. Kids, seniors, any age, because there are all different types of stories. There's some stories about me from my childhood that I want to react, but I'm going to need some kids to do that.
Right.
And then I have the Interchange 2020 Mind, Body, and Soul. This is an event where we are using motivation, arts, and the forgiveness. It's an event. It's not a conference. It's an event where...
What's the difference between that? Isn't a conference an event?
I've gone to so many conferences.
Isn't a conference an event?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No. So, you go to the conference, and I'm not, because I've learned a lot at so many conferences, but, a lot of times you see, you're just talking heads. But what I've realized that I'm missing, or that I have missed, is the passion for the arts, right? And so, when I go back, we talked about me being in the Creative Writing Club. We talked about me being in the marching band. We didn't talk about me playing the piano since I was 6 years old. So most of my fondest memories are attached to a movement, but that movement has been attached to music,
right? Okay.
In some type of art form. And so I believe that, and I know that we can relay the message of forgiveness and motivation through those art forms. So I have, some amazing people, which I will announce Friday, that are going to be a part of this event. I mean, down from media personalities, people who write plays, all different types of walks are going to be a part of this, where they're going to move the room. A dance company, they're going to literally move the room.
That's awesome.
And so my goal is, when you walk away from this environment, just like you turn on, you go get your, I was about to say CD, that's so old. You get your your iPod, your whatever it is that you have your music on.
Yeah.
YouTube, go to your playlist, and there might be a song that's in the environment, or there might be a type of genre of music that's in the environment, and you can go back and listen to that after the event and tap into those emotions that had you hyped up to change, that had you hyped up to actually rise above life traffic jams, so that you can interchange from your past into your destiny.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty much, those are the two major things I have coming up, alongside a speaking event, pretty much every month coming up, which, if you connect with me on social media, you'll get to see some of those things. But yeah, that's pretty much, I think it's enough.
That's quite a bit. Where is it? If there was something that, being as is, this is my women's empowerment series, and I brought you on here because you're, from what I've read about you and having done your show, and just, it's like you have a very unique perspective, and you offer a lot of value to people that are watching. What is it? Let's say, from the top of your mind, what advice would you have for women struggling with forgiveness? Start there.
So the first thing is to check your identity. You need to know exactly who you are. When you don't know who you are, that's when you become vulnerable to people who can attack what you think you are, right? And then they can get into your space, and then you're trying to figure out, well, why am I hurt, or why am I here? It's because you don't know yourself, and so you allow for people to dictate who you are, what you do, how you do, when you do, where you do. And so being able to know who you are will allow for you to stand up and create those firm boundaries. So that people will not be able to break those walls and infiltrate your space.
Right.
So just knowing who you are, that's something that I dealt with. And knowing yourself is truly a process.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because I can let you know that I'm still trying to I'm finding myself today, because I'm like, who is Kyonna outside of the forgiveness expert? Who is Kyonna outside of Miss Pooch Styles or Pooch Lady, or whatever people want to call me? Who is Kyonna outside of Jeremiah's mom? Who is she outside of Charles' wife? So I'm in a season right now of getting back to me, and we talked about decreasing, so that you can increase, so that you can elevate. So just looking and finding out who you are, and finding out what things you need to prune in your life, so that you can get to you.
One of the things I always, just so on that. One thing I've been saying probably since the beginning of the Elevation podcast, but way before that, is so the fact that the Bible says that He knew me before the foundations of the world, in which case He knew me in eternity, and He knew me in a space that I didn't know me, because I wasn't here to have a mind of who I even was. So if He knew me before the foundations of the world, there is a version of me that I haven't met yet. So I need to get in tune with Him, so I can understand who I am.
Yes.
And one of the things I can go searching I can go search the world to find out who I am, or I can just tune into the source who created me, who knew me before I was me. He knows the version of who I am more than I know myself. Therefore, I can go to Him and let Him know, and let Him direct me into who I am.
I'm gonna get to the rest of those questions, but you done sparked something in me, because I've been studying. I'm in classes and everything because I wanted to actually know the Lord for myself. And getting to know the Lord for me is studying His Word, so that I can get not what Shawn said. Shawn said he knew me, and I want to get to know what it is.
To me.
For me. And so there's some things that I've had challenges with in my life, and I never really understood. When it says that I would have all of my desires, But then when I realized the desires that you were saying were the desires of him, and I'm like, well, how am I supposed to know what he want? You know, how can his desires become my desires? And I am seeing this transform in my life. The things that I am wanting to do, it's like, what? Like my husband today, he said, why we got to keep listening to this elevator music in the house? It's not elevator music. It is prayer meditation music. But for me, I'm just sitting there, I'm sitting there, I'm reading my homework and studying and, just finding out like, before I'm like, where be at,
Right.
But that's not so anymore. But the more I get to know him, the more his desires become my desires and the more I get to know about me. One of the things that I was struggling with was being more present in my home. And because it's like, oh, well, you're supposed to be doing this, you're supposed to be doing that.
Oh,
and
man, that life
networking, and I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Girl, no, you don't. It felt like we talked about earlier. It feels so good to just sit on my couch and say, I have nothing to do and be okay with that. I'm okay with the Kyonna that don't have nothing to do right now. Last year I was flying everywhere. I was doing Forgiveness Nation tour. So everywhere I was going, I was sharing the message of forgiveness. I was exhausted. People would tell me, like, I don't even know do you know where you are? Sometimes I didn't even know where I was. I was in this airport, airport.
I've got that before in my life.
Just following and getting instruction from him, being closer to him, learning the word for myself and not what someone is dictating to me and finding out the real truth.
Right.
The real truth. And my identity is actually in that real truth.
Absolutely.
Because now, since I have the truth, I've been doing some different things at home.
Absolutely.
And like, at first, people would ask me, or some people at work, they'd be like, you cooking today? No, I don't cook. My husband cook. Last week, I got truly excited. I was like, oh, y'all, I'm cooking this. I'm becoming the person that God has created me to be in every sense, in every area of my life.
And it's just funny, the more you connect with God, the more you understand that the desires of your heart are desires that he gave you.
Yes.
Therefore, when he says he'll give you the desires of your heart, those very desires is how he created you. That's when you're aligned with him, you're aligned with the things that you want. Even, it's such a, when you're not aligned with him, you're not aligned with the things that he wants, but you're also not really aligned with the things that you want.
Yeah.
I never met a drug addict say they wanted to be a drug addict. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never,
they always want different.
They wanted something different for their life, but got stuck in something.
Yeah. That's where their identity, that's where your identity starts. So I don't want you to think that, you just have to go sit in the corner. You can journal and do all those things, but you have to seek that relationship with your God. I know who my God Elohim is, but with your God, my God, I know who mine is, but that's where your true identity comes in. When you find out, from the Creator, how you were created, what you were supposed to do with your creation that you
purpose,
are.
Yeah. And we talked about that on your show a lot. Yeah. We talked about, understanding the purpose, the purpose of God, for your life. Yeah. That's super. What is...
I have one more thing to talk about.
Go. You go ahead.
So because we got sidetracked. So the expectation thing.
Okay.
Right? So I've learned, and this is the advice for women, one of the things is to not, like some people are like, oh, I have all these high expectations and, this, that.
Standards.
Yeah, that is the firm foundation. And these are my beliefs. Everybody, we can agree to disagree, but these are my beliefs. When we do that, we limit ourselves. Right. And then we're also setting ourselves up for any type of hurt that comes, with having that expectation. So I've learned to not rely and have that expectation in man, but to only have it here. Right. To have it with Christ. So those are my two things. And the third one, I talked about it in the first one, is having boundaries, having, clear boundaries, so that people don't know how they can infiltrate your space, and you let them know, well, this is the line, you don't come past here. So it's going to be all of those three things: your identity, expectation, boundaries. And sometimes, to keep yourself away. And remember, this is one thing that I want to share about forgiveness. A lot of people that may be in your life that feel that you owe them an apology.
Right.
it's because they have a sense of entitlement with you. So realizing what that relationship is like and setting that firm boundary allows for them to not have that sense of it. And then some people will still have it, feel that they're entitled to certain things. But when,
as always,
but when you learn and realize, you gotta help people or be there for people how you can be there and not the way that you want them to be there. So just learning, to maneuver around those things and have self-love for you. Yes. I think that those are great tips and tools. Those are things that help me.
What is if someone had to? So there was a situation that happened last year, and it was almost like people were upset at the idea of forgiveness. It was a situation with the police officer that came into a woman's house and shot the woman or whatever. Then in the courtroom,
let me tell you, when I saw that, when I just saw that, and I'm gonna let you finish your question, but when I saw that,
you know where my question was going.
I just saw God. That's all I saw. I saw me and I saw God, because every time I did something outside of His will against Him, against my fellow man. When I was sincere and repentant and went to Him, that's exactly what He did to me. And so I didn't even see them people. I didn't see the incident. I just saw me. I didn't see none of that.
Would you say that's the key to it? Like sometimes you just got to see you in a scenario.
Yeah.
In that scenario, there were a lot of people that were angry at the idea that you people are so quick to forgive someone. And I think, overwhelmingly, I think that people are more interested in revenge than they are in peace. But, I think maybe when you think about that scenario, what you would say to people is put yourself there and see how God forgave you.
Yeah, think about all the times that you've done. Yeah. X, Y, and Z. I mean, stealing, whatever it is that you did, lying. Some people are habitual liars. You just lie for no reason. And you might get in your mind that you I don't want to do this anymore. This is a stronghold that I have to release. God, you have to help me through this. Right. And so every time you go to Him, that's that same hug you get.
Right.
That's the same hug you get.
Yeah.
Every time you pick up that bottle or you pick up that joint, whatever it is, and you like, God, this is not what I want to do anymore. I repent, Lord. Please forgive me. God, know that's your stronghold. So what do He do? He gives you that hug. It's all right. He welcomes you back into the fold. Wow. We're the ones who leave. So remember, when you see that image, that was nothing but God welcoming her back into the fold.
Right. That's an example. So that's an example of forgiveness the way God forgives.
Yes.
Forgiveness without holding a grudge or thinking that. And I when the young man, I think it was the brother. So it was the brother. I can't even remember people's names. It's a long time ago, but
well, I'm pretty sure everybody knows.
Yeah, they know what I'm talking about. Yeah. When it was the brother came out, it was like it wasn't really at all about her. It was about doing what he felt like,
what he needed to release.
What he needed to do, what he needed to release.
From his beliefs, him knowing, him knowing the truth, right? Because the truth sets you free. So when you act in the truth, you become free. And so his truth, or what he knows is to be the truth, is that he has to forgive her.
Right.
And so what a lot of people don't realize is that you can forgive before you heal from a thing. And it's the process that you go through.
Say that again.
So what you do is you consciously make the decision in your mind, like, God, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. And the more you do that thing, the more you every time you see it. I mean, there have been moments where I said I was going to forgive someone, or, I wanted to release the situation. And every time I saw that person, it was like, I could feel that twinge, in my gut. And then, all of a sudden, I think this was like maybe 6 or 7 months later, somebody asked me about that person. And I was like, Dag, what's her name? Dag. And then, like, right after that, I realized I didn't have that feeling. And so what happened in that moment is that the thoughts that I was thinking lined up with my heart. As a man thinketh, so is he. So is he in his heart. And so what happened was I thought my way out of that hurt and that pain until my heart actually lined up with the thoughts I was having. And so a lot of people feel that you have to be over something. You'll never get over something if you don't choose to take the first step. And forgiveness is an action, right? It's the first step towards healing. It's when you say I forgive, it doesn't mean, again, that you've healed, that everything is good. It's all good. And no, it's not. You have to work through it, phase by phase, whatever that looks like for you. There's so many different situations. You have people who've been molested. You have people who have been abused, physically from parents growing up. You have people who might have been sold into a sex ring. I know somebody that's happened to. It's all different types of issues that you're going to have to pull yourself out of, but you have to first make the conscious decision that you will no longer live in what was. You're going to become what's new. And the new is the life that you have through Jesus Christ with the power of repentance and forgiveness.
Let me ask you this. What is the step to someone who has been served, let's say, an egregious offense? In which case, the world may tell that someone that you have the right to hold a grudge because of whatever this egregious thing another person has done to them. And I can think of a whole lot of horrible things to say, but I don't even want to. Like there is a hardcore, just egregious offense against somebody. What is the steps that person takes when the community around them says
they should act against
you are justified in your offense. You are justified in where you are, and nobody can, tell you that you have to forgive someone that did this horrific thing to you.
So when you share that, what comes to my mind is not the law of the land, but the law of the kingdom. And so, the law of the land may say that it's okay, to go ahead and do that. But I have to look at what the law of the kingdom says. Because I know for me in my heart, I know that it's a thin and narrow path. It's not a wide path to heaven. And so I have to make sure that I am doing things that line up with kingdom purpose and not carnal things. Because the carnal will say, oh, I'm going to get you back.
Right.
But the kingdom work will say, if I do this, I know that there are so many people that are looking at me. And this is when I don't even do it for myself, right? There's so many people that might be looking at the actions that I might take.
Right.
What might this do for the kingdom?
Right.
What might this change in somebody's mind, in somebody's heart who's been holding something maybe worse than this or maybe even less than this? What would that do to spark a change in them to do something kingdom purpose? And so that's, when you ask me that question, I don't even put myself in the evaluation. I don't put my carnal in it. I have to look at what would serve the kingdom best in this situation.
Interesting. And let me ask you this. I ask everybody the same question. So when it gets to a certain time of the year, right? If there was one thing, let's say the Lord said, Kyonna, you have the grace. I'm gonna give you the grace to change one thing about the world. Right? He said, I'm gonna give you the grace to change one thing. What is it? What would be the one thing that you would change about the world?
Would it be about the people or the way that the system is set up, or
take it how you want to hear it?
Okay, so I'm gonna be about the people. I would want people to truly see, to see what the truth is, and not what the fog or the haze of what looks popular, what looks good to do, or like we talked about earlier, what could be fun. To see the truth about what it is that they're really doing in relation to the word. Because I think that that's something now that I'm able to see, and I don't have on rose-colored glasses, and I'm able to follow the truth. It's really given me such a freedom where I don't feel inhibited by anything. You know, if, you know, some things need to be paid, he got it. You know, I'm going to do what I got to do. If, you know, a situation is not going in my favor, because I know the truth, I'm not stressing out about it. And I'm not perfect by far, so I don't want to give anybody that perception, but because of everything that I've gone through and to know the truth now, I know that worry is not mine. And once I give it to him, he's going to handle it. And the more that I worry, the more that I am defiling my temple. Because if I'm supposed to keep my temple to serve him, how could I have things in it that don't belong there?
Right.
And so, you know, just having the truth. I think the truth, you know, people being able to see without having the fog, the haze, the rose-colored glasses, whatever, just to be able to see the word for what it is.
Thinking of things people see, right? If there were one thing that you could leave with the world about Kyonna, if there's one thing you could just like, man, if I could leave anything with these people, what would that thing be?
It will be my heart. My heart to genuinely care for those who have been broken.
Wow.
If I could help people and that's why forgiveness is so important, because that's where my unforgiveness stemmed from. It stemmed from a place of brokenness. And so if I could leave my heart to let women know that they don't have to be in that broken place anymore, and just like, you know, they can see it. Like my heart is like joy. It's like there's happiness after this. You know, there's a new revelation after this thing that I don't have to continue to stay here. And a lot of times people keep themselves mentally incarcerated due to the life events that they've gone through. And if I could share my heart of not only breaking through mental incarceration, breaking through the physical incarceration, the conservation of my heart and relationships, you know, the things that I didn't receive when I was a youth, you know, even just, you know, the person in my past was my dad, that, you know, I had a sense of entitlement. I'm your daughter. You're supposed to do these things. But my dad had a problem at that point. And so it wasn't my dad that was there. It was the addiction that was there. You know, and I thank God today that I have him, to have a relationship with him. But, you know, if I could share that heart to let people know that no matter what it is that you've gone through, because God has allowed for me to experience, oh, honey child, some things. You know, just pick one of the topics. I'm pretty sure that it could connect, you know, with somebody out there to say, oh, there's hope. There's a chance. And in her heart's letting me see the freedom that I can have. You're stuck.
No. It's like sometimes you gotta process. You gotta process.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about how can people get in contact with you? I could assume that there are going to be people after this who want to further the conversation of forgiveness with you, or maybe come out to an event that you have, or what is your contact? How can someone get in contact with you?
So you can visit the website at www.KyonnaFBrown.com. That's KYO.
It's right there.
NNAFBrown.com. Let me tell you.
I want it. It's right there.
But my name has been spelled so many ways, because you know. We're going to talk about how some people will still message you when it's right there and ask you. Or you can, you know, hit me up on IG and my Facebook page at The Forgiveness Expert. So that's pretty much email info@KyonnaFBrown. .com.
Yeah, I know people also they'll spell my name SEAN in a comment on Facebook, and my name is right there.
Yeah, so that's why I spell it. Because, sometimes people, they just like to write it down, and I love to stay connected. And if you go to the website, you can get connected to my email list so you can find out all the great things that are coming up. Monthly, I share a message on forgiveness, something that God has placed in my heart to share for that month. So, yeah, I love to stay connected.
Are your events that you go to, are they open to the public or are they mostly private?
The events that I speak at?
That you speak at?
A lot of them are open. They're open to the public. And I have my events are listed there. On my website. And if you're on social media, I'm always posting, what's going on. Like today I posted I was here hanging out with Shawn.
Yeah. So, one last part here. I'm just kidding.
I just say, like, what is he about to do, y'all?
It's the part where I give away stuff.
Okay. Oh, okay. Y'all gonna get something?
You gonna get something?
I'm going. I love gifts, Look, and he gave me something. Look, y'all. So yesterday, the shirt that he got on today, and I meant to take a picture.
It's all good.
I forgot to take a picture, but I sure had it on yesterday.
I'm here for the love, not the pictures.
Well, the pictures help show the brand, but I like it. Yeah, can I show them?
Yeah, of course.
I like it. I love gifts. Yes. I can't wear this to the shop. Not with the puppies. Oh, if you got a dog that need to be groomed, you can see me at Pooch Styles Pet Grooming. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can see me. Y'all can see me there almost every day. You want to see me?
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you so much for coming out. I think this was a really, really important subject, and I think that it brings it. Yeah, you.
I was making too much noise, y'all.
You can rattle it.
Okay.
I think this was a really, really important subject that I think a lot of people really need to, really need to see, really need to hear more about. And I encourage everybody to really go check her out, go to her website, look at the stuff she does, because it's really, really important. I think forgiveness is one of the foremost things in life that keeps you mentally and spiritually, emotionally healthy. And actually, unforgiveness is oftentimes physically unhealthy.
It is.
Because you spend your time stressing out about somebody who gone on with their life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I've gained many a pound with unforgiveness. And that contributes to all different types of heart issues, high blood pressure, sugar diabetes. You don't want to get the diabetes, y'all.
Diabetes.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for coming. And I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the Elevation Podcast. My name is Shawn Riff-Raff. I do this every Tuesday, 7:30, same time, on my website, www.shawnriffraff.com, or if you're on my Facebook page, or if you're on LinkedIn, or if you're on, YouTube, at all, 7:30 on Tuesday, on shawnriffraff.com. And we're gonna keep doing this. It's Women's Empowerment Month. It's Women All Month talking empowerment, talking things that can be empowering, not just to women, but it's a message from women. That's what this month is about. The Elevation Podcast is all about empowerment. Period. It's about elevation. It's about going to the next level. Thank y'all for joining me. This is Shawn Riff-Raff, and this is Elevation Podcast. Peace out. Thanks. Faith is a lifestyle. It is the mountain on which you stand that makes you believe that a dream is actually attainable. It is a concrete evidence that makes the logically impossible seem completely tangible. It seemed hopeless, but faith. I can't prove it, but faith. I can't explain it, but my faith has given me peace. I'm a Christian with $100 million vision. Can nobody box me and say that's a contradiction? Goal driven, God just blessed me with the ambition. Look up, winner is the rest of definition.